What's going on, guys? Amazing Watch here, back with another video. Today we're going to be going over how you can be getting 2,400 plus points in Final Boss Meliodas and Elizabeth, so let's get into it. Alright, so as you guys know, the Final Boss Meliodas and Elizabeth just came out. It came out about a few hours ago and people are pushing ranks right now. The highest score I could get was 2,425 right now with the Jericho comp, and the thing is with this comp, it's very hard to score really high, especially when everyone's running Derieri, but this is mainly a guide for anyone that doesn't have Derieri and still wants to get a decent amount of score. This score will probably net you a top 10% overall. You're definitely not going to stay in the top 5% for a long time with this score, but it's definitely going to be able to get you most of the rewards from the final boss. So I'm just going to be going over my gear. I have a pre-recorded run of me getting that score, so I'm just going to show you guys my gear and what teams I actually use. So I use my green Jericho, red Gother, red Merlin, and green Alioni in the back. The reason for using green Jericho, she's going to be your main DPS. She is your nuker unit you want to use for the fight. She's going to get you the most damage for a single ultimate, right, other than Derieri. So you want to make sure you're using her if you want to score decently high score, and you don't have Derieri, right? She's going to be your best alternative if you don't have her. So the gear I ran was triple crit. You can actually run attack crit damage, that also works, but triple crit damage works also, right? This roll is really good, the base stat on that, so this one is pretty high, right? 509. And then, you know, the attack rolls aren't even that crazy, right? In the video, I hit the Meliodas for about 1 million crit. I could have hit a little higher, obviously, with more min-max rolls on my gear, but at the moment that is the highest I'm going to be able to hit with the freeze from Merlin, right? You want to bring red Gother for sure. He's a mandatory for this fight, no matter what DPS you're using, right? Gother's going to be here. You need him for the rank ups. These rank ups are going to help. You need the level 3 rank up if you're going to want to do a ton of damage on Jericho nuke or even the Derieri nuke. So definitely really important. And also, if you can try and stack his passive as much as you can, that's super useful for scoring really high damage. Merlin's actually a unit I didn't think would be the main contender for points. The thing is with Merlin is that she actually gets bonus points in the final boss compared to Gustav. Whenever you use a skill with Collector Great Mage Merlin, it actually shows up a little pop-up, right, that it says +5 for Great Mage Merlin. Like, it specifies that Merlin gets the points over just using the card, right? So I do think that using Merlin is going to net you a little bit more points than using Gustav, so definitely use Merlin even though Gustav has a better passive for nuking, right? You want to make sure you're using Merlin to get the extra stats. So they're basically the same unit, right? You got the freeze, you got the recovery disable, and you have her ultimate right here. Obviously not everyone's gonna have a 6/6 red Merlin, right? But she's definitely gonna be the one you use for the highest net points. And then you got Alioni in the back here for the increased attack related stats on the green units. So yeah, HP attack related stats increased by 10%. So that's what you want to be using, Alioni in the back. I mean, you got some other options, right? You could try Death Pierce in the back. I don't really think Death Pierce is needed though, just because Jericho does guarantee crits once she starts stacking up her passive in the fight, so it's not really necessary. And for food recommendations for the fight, I actually do recommend you use lifesteal food, and the reason for that is because it makes you sustainable and makes it so you're able to survive throughout the fight without much harm, right? I definitely do recommend you using the lifesteal food. I mean, if you really want to min-max damage, you definitely could go for crit damage food if you're using Jericho, but it's definitely going to be up to you, right? I do prefer using the lifesteal food just to ensure the survivability of my team. So that's going to be it. I'm going to discuss the fight process during the actual fight. I'm gonna do I have the pre-recorded fight, and I'll just talk over that when we actually show you guys. So that's gonna be it for the first part of the video, and we'll hop into the actual fight with the final boss Meliodas and Elizabeth. Alright, so we're loading into the fight, guys, and the main process for the fight, or the main strategy you want to go with on the first phase, is you're gonna want to make sure you DPS the Elizabeth, right? You want to make sure you do some chip damage on her, get some damage off with the Jericho, start building up your crit, and once you start building up your crit, save your ultimate for the second phase. I do recommend you save the ultimate for the second phase. It's going to make it so you're able to get the ultimate off on the second phase and not have to worry about having it, and you also want to have a freeze card when that does come. So right now we're just doing some chip damage. Obviously the Elizabeth and Meli are doing their attacks. So the main part of this fight is you want to make sure you are taking off the buffs of the enemy. So whenever you freeze the enemy and they have a buff, it actually gives you more score. So right here I don't really go for the freeze because I am trying to get another freeze card in my hand, but I am just going for chip damage on the Elizabeth at the moment, right? And as you guys can see, every time Merlin uses a skill, you actually see the increased points from the Great Mage Merlin, right? It actually specifies that she gets more points, so that is the reason why I chose her over Gustav. So I was doing a little bit of testing with Gustav, but overall I do think that Merlin has more sustainability and survivability, right? So what I do here, as you guys will see, I just do a little chip damage there, and we go for the freeze on the Elizabeth. The thing is, with this fight, Elizabeth can be frozen, and she won't actually take the debuff off after she is frozen, right? So Elizabeth won't be able to heal this turn, and I'd let Meliodas get the ultimate off. So it's perfectly fine that we just let him get that off, because Gother's going to eat that, right? He does apply a ton of ignite stacks, but overall you're just able to eat the damage, right? Yeah, so as you can see, Elizabeth wasn't able to get her ultimate off, and so she was just frozen for that turn, right? So at this point I'm contemplating what I do. I just move a card with Merlin and rush her ultimate also, and we just take some damage on the Elizabeth. So, and the thing is with Elizabeth's ultimate, it is a rejuvenate ultimate, but it doesn't proc until the second turn after she uses it. So you want to make sure you kill her the next turn, right? So that's why I left her alive this turn, because once she gets her ultimate off, she rejuvenates, but she doesn't actually heal till the next turn from the rejuvenate, right? So right here I'm just gonna ult the Elizabeth here with my Merlin ult, and then we start to just chip down the Meliodas, right? That's mainly what you want to do if you're trying to score a decently high score. Yeah, so like at this point, another thing to mention is you don't want to use a debuff skill on the Meliodas when he has his counter up, as he's going to be countering it on the first phase. So you want to make sure you're using cards that aren't debuff skills. That's why I use the regular Gother card there and then froze. But you can try and actually just freeze the Meliodas to take off the buffs, and it'll give you more points. So try and do that if you can. But overall, you're just gonna keep rinse and repeating, chip damage, you know, freezing. It's all just like whatever cards you get at the moment, right? Like I'm just doing the chip damage with Jericho here, building up her crit. She's already at 100% crit, as you guys can see. She's not missing a crit there with all her attacks. So definitely a really good unit for the fight, right? Jericho's gonna be your top DPS other than Derieri, right? So right here we actually get a decent amount of cards right here, and as you guys will see, what I do is I go for the freeze right there just to take off the counter, and I combine the Gother rank up there to get a level 2, and we're not going to use the Gother rank up till we get it to level 3, right? So right here we freeze to take off the counter so we can use the debuff card safely. And then Meliodas is going to get his ultimate off. It's perfectly fine. We're going to use our ultimate with Merlin and Gother and chip him down a little bit. And then he should be almost dead, right? And then we do get a Gother rank up on the next turn to rank up my level 2 rank up. And that's what's going to boost damage on the second phase with the Jericho ultimate. So just going to get the Gother ultimate off there. And then we get the Merlin ult. It does a decent chunk of damage, right? And right here I was pretty cheesed, but we didn't actually get the kill on Meliodas. He barely survived that, but it honestly worked out for us because we did draw some nice cards on the following turn, right? So yeah, as you can see, Jericho is one shot, and having the lifesteal food is going to help a ton, because when you nuke with Jericho, she's going to go back to full health, and she won't be at a low health ratio like as what she is right now, right? So right here, I rank up the Gother rank up to make it level 3. We get the Gother rank up buff, and then I just do a regular attack on the Meliodas. I check to see how much health he has just to make sure we get the kill, because he does have the counter up still. And then we go for the kill here, and we move on to the second phase. There we go. And yeah, so the Meliodas is dead. We move on to the second phase. You want to try and go into the second phase with a level 3 Merlin freeze and the Jericho ultimate, and you want to make sure you have the Jericho built up, right? You don't want her to not crit on the ultimate. If you don't crit on the ultimate, you're probably not going to kill the Meliodas, right? That's going to be a little bit of an issue. For Derieri, it's different. Obviously, she doesn't need to crit. She just does the raw damage. But with Jericho, you definitely want to crit here. So what I do is I target the Meliodas. You want to make sure you are nuking the Meliodas. The reason for that is because the Elizabeth isn't much of a threat once you've killed off the Meliodas. So right here, I go for the bleed card, right? And then we do the freeze and the nuke ultimate right here, and we get about 1.1 million right there. So pretty good damage. I mean, it was about 1.2 actually. Really good damage actually. yeah, so at this point, this part of the fight is really easy at this point, right? You just chip down the Elizabeth, and it's a wrap at this point. You basically won the fight. You just want to make sure you keep spamming your debuff recovery disable so that the Elizabeth can't heal, and you spam your weak point cards with Jericho to get some quick and nice burst damage, right? So there we go, and the fight's basically done at this point. We get the ultimate with Merlin here, and the ultimate with Merlin actually does take out the Elizabeth on this turn. So yeah, that's basically the run, guys. It's a pretty good run, right? I could definitely min-max a higher score if I really needed to, but this is going to be the best for most players. I would say most players playing Grand Cross casually, I would say you're definitely able to do this. Like, all you really need is an attack crit damage set with the Jericho, right? And you'll do really well with the team right here. So we finish off with 2,400 points. We do not get the infect bonus because we don't have an infect character. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Peace out.